Paul, I know you and a lot of the writers eventually went on to Freakazoid, and something very interesting that I noticed is that Tiny Toons was very much children-oriented entertainment, Animaniacs was sort of both children and adults, Freakazoid seemed very much surreal, odd, adult humor. And again, was there sort of a conscious effort to follow the age of your audience as they got older?
It could be that we were sort of ready to write that. When Freakazoid came along, I was originally a little hesitant to sort of get into it because it was a superhero thing. But then once we started writing it and realized it didn't really have to be a superhero kind of thing, it just had to be really weird and fun and dumb, then that's what we started writing. So I don't know if it was a conscious decision from anybody, but it just felt like this is what we really feel like writing now.
Tom, I have sort of a weird question. It doesn't have to relate to much here, but it's something that's driven me nuts for a really, really long time. My favorite cartoon is Hooked on a Ceiling, which is where the Warners helped Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel. To me, that's about as perfect as a cartoon as you can get. But why was Michelangelo portrayed as Kirk Douglas?
Out, you incompetent fools! You call yourselves artists?
Instead of Charlton Heston, who played Michelangelo in Agony and the Ecstasy. Why Kirk Douglas?
That's a really good question. That is, I think, the definitive Warner's cartoon. It's like a perfect cartoon. It's beautifully done. You know, here's my guess. We had this great caricature of Kirk Douglas. We didn't have such a great drawing of Charlton Heston. Also, the voice for Kirk is so much funnier than Charlton, at least what we were doing with Charlton.
You fools, I'm the great Michelangelo, and this is the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, yeah? If you're so great, what did you do with the other 15 chapels, huh? Got you there.
I think it had to do with performance and drawing in that case. I guess we could have been parodying the movie Closer with Charlton, but it worked.
After the success at Warner Brothers, all of you, of course, went on to do various different things. What have you guys been up to? Like Nate, did you ever consider going back into voice acting at all?
I did think about going back into voice acting, but then puberty hit and my voice cracked, and that pretty much killed my career as a child voice actor. Just so you know, they were actually digitally pitching my voice higher at the end of Animaniacs because my voice had noticeably changed.
That's not Bambi's mom. She's old. I'm gonna eat peanuts and popcorn and Dodger dogs till I barf.
And so I guess instead of going back into voice acting, I have been working my way back into Hollywood as a writer-director. And just recently, I finished a short film called Another Life. It's a neo-noir thriller about a young female veteran who has 3 days to kill an innocent man or they both die.
Not a comedy, then. Okay, not a comedy. So, the rest of you guys, what have you been up to ever since the success of Animaniacs?
I've been gardening.
I've been sitting on my laurels, mostly. Just trying to milk it as much as I can.
After Freakazoid, I did a stint with Peter Hastings at Disney one Saturday morning, and I did a live-action character for him called Manny the Uncanny.
Often I ask fans that I meet on Facebook and other places for cash or to sign a loan.
Produced and started at a show called Animalia for PBS. Did something called Sushi Pack.
You know, I sold a pilot to Nickelodeon. I'm working on Kung Fu Panda.
Wait, what, Kung Fu Panda like the movie?
It's called Legends of Awesomeness. It's the Nick TV show. So it's CG, but it's half-hour stories.
And John, outside of begging your fans, what have you been doing with your time?
Been writing more short fiction, actually, and working on my first novel right now, which is kind of fun.
I pitch a lot of stuff. I'm getting together with a lot of the people you're interviewing for this to pitch a new show.
And can I ask what that's about?
It's about a flock of vultures. It's the first, to my knowledge, the first totally improv animated sitcom pilot. Gathered together a couple very funny actors, Paul Rugg and John McCann, Sherry Stoner and Deanna Oliver, gathered in a recording studio. By the end of the day, they had improv'd an entirely new animated sitcom.
That sounds awesome. I'm going to support this. I'm going to get behind this show.
I want you to make it happen.
Yeah, hey, you think Spielberg's name carries a lot of clout? The Nostalgia Critic. Okay, household name. Everybody knows me. Spielberg, some people in China know him. I don't know.
We're going to fly you out here and you're going to improv with these people.
That's right. That's right. My methods of improv are very goodish. So, now how about you, Sherry? What have you been doing with your time?
Well, I'm a mother.
Say no more.
I'm working on a couple of projects of my own that hopefully will see the light of day very, very soon.
And can you tell us about any of these projects?
No.
Oh, boo! Come on, Tom told us about improving vultures.
Oh, well, see, he's tricky.
All right. But because of that, you gotta start everybody off by saying who's your favorite character on Animaniacs.
Well, it has to be Slappy. I mean, it would be sort of self-loathing if I didn't say Slappy in a way, wouldn't it?
Well, Skippy the Squirrel's the best, obviously. I made him the best.
Probably Yakko.
Probably Yakko.
I have to go with Yakko. I know a lot of other people like Yakko. It might be prosaic.
I'm gonna go with Wacko.
All right, and technically, the last question I'm gonna ask you guys is, what's your favorite episode that any of you have worked on?
I like Cookies for Einstein because I was desperate to find a way to end it, and my wife suggested that Acme backwards was sort of like E equals MC squared, so I sort of like that one.
And I think I have two. One is Bumby's mom, and the other would be Bubba Bobob Brain.
Yeah, I really have to name my favorite?
Yes, and you only have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2,
I'd
1.
say it's a toss-up between Woodstock Slappy and Star Warners.
You still don't win the car.
I really enjoyed Space Probed. I love science fiction, and I was able to include a lot of the films that I really like.
I think it's episode 85 that has the two-note song where Wacko is trying to convince Dr. Scratch and Sniff that you can still make music out of just 2 notes. In that song, there's this childlike joy and wonder in finding beauty in even the simplest music.
Now, there's 2 more people I would like to talk to, if I can. Paul, I would like to talk with Mr. Director. Is it possible to speak with him?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mr. Director, in your professional opinion, what is the secret of comedy?
Timing. Timing, good coffee, many words that the people you're talking to don't really understand. It's an affectation of brilliance that you exude from your own pores to cause the others to be flattered with your perspiration.
Now, I'm also wondering
Are you understanding what I'm saying? You getting it? Because I'm trying to talk and there's nothing there. Go ahead, bud.
Mr. Director, directing is obviously in your name, but I have to admit, I haven't seen any of the films that you have worked on. What are some of the films that you've directed?
The Tin Boy, it was about a boy who was tin, and a rust came and was very sad. Schmecula, I don't know if you saw that. It was a Jewish vampire. I don't know if you saw that. Very good. The Glass People, Flunkin was good, and Bosch.
How'd that last one go again?
Here, say it with me. Say Bosch. Ka Blibbin. Bosch ka Blibbin.
Could you give me a plot synopsis on that one by any chance?
Yes. There was a man made of dough.
Oh.
He was formed in the oven, much like a creator or God would form you, and he was made of dough. But his arm was, because of a baking accident or something, arm was backwards from the rest of his body. And this caused in him to be mocked, to be ridiculed. And so it's about him finding someone to chew his arm off.
Wow, that's very moving. I gotta say,
no,
I was touched.
You
I was
don't
really
have
touched
to be
by
impressed with it. That's just the first 3 pages.
Oh, really?
After that, there's a war. He goes to a fairyland where there are fireballs, and he's eventually reformed in a new dough and is made whole.
This is sounding like a fairy tale from Tommy Wiseau.
I won an award in Cleveland.
No kidding. And what was that called?
The Award of Cleveland. I'm not saying it was clever, but it was called the Award of Cleveland for that being my movie.
Now, Mr. Director, I recall a character, a clown specifically, who was hired to terrorize Wacko at one point. And I must say he bears an unbelievable likeness to you, even has a very similar voice.
Hello, I'm a puppy, Bart Leavenworth.
distant relative, or?
Which is very interesting here, and I will tell this to no one else.
Uh-huh.
That I had a desperate time. Things were not working well for me. I was in foreclosure on a boat that I lived on. And in order to pay the bills, I hate to admit this, I had to do that part. And that was actually me. But in hindsight, I think it was brilliant. There was talk of me winning an Emmy, but I didn't. Because I didn't, but there was talk of it.
And do you ever have any temptations about returning to the clown hood?
To the clown hood?
Yeah, it's not a gang film starring Bozo. It's a state of
for
being.
me, singing songs,
Being silly, making a laugh.
see, just when you mention it there, you
Bring it out of me.
so, excuse me, but that had to come out. I'm sorry.
It's cool. I would know nothing about sudden impulses. Now, Mr. Director, very last question. In your opinion, again, your professional opinion, what is funny? What is the absolute bare essence of funny?
All right, go with me on a thought experiment.
Okay.
You're in a jungle. There's an elephant, and it's chasing you. The elephant knocks you to the ground. I'm still going with this. I'm just formulating
I'm
so
totally
that
with you,
at
man.
its most
I'm
brilliant
on board.
that you can understand. Repeat after me. I'm in the jungle.
I'm in the jungle.
An elephant's chasing me.
An elephant is chasing me.
It knocked me down.
It knocked me down.
And then it makes a poop. That's pretty much. So you didn't expect it. Did you? You were expecting maybe to be, but then it makes a poop.
Elephant.
And
Yeah,
for me,
I have to admit, I
comedy.
did not see that coming.
That's comedy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Director. I can see why they call you a genius.
Thank you.
Now, Sherry, is there any chance we can talk to Slappy Squirrel for a moment?
I'll do my best. Okay. Yeah.
Slappy, what has happened with cartoons nowadays? I mean, they just don't seem as funny as they were in the old days.
Yeah, they're no good. I'll tell you why. They're hiring hacks to be in them. A bunch of prima donna hacks that don't know how to take any dynamite to the head. Nobody's falling down anymore. Nobody's getting hurt. They just stand there and yak, 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 yak. When's the last time the Family Guy got hit on the head with a mallet? You ain't gonna see it.
Now, Slappy, you've obviously known a lot of cartoon characters and have gotten the dirt on a good chunk of them. Tell me, who was the most shocking that you ever had to work with?
Judy Jetson.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, Judy Jetson was a handful. She made Lindsay Lohan look like Shirley Temple. You know what I'm talking about? She was a mess, a nightmare. Never wore underpants.
No kidding. I'll have to watch more of the Jetsons. Now, we all know that olive oil has never been the same ever since her breast reduction. But what I'm wondering is, did any of that have to do with Popeye's spinach abuse? Did you know the couple well, or was there any truth to these rumors?
It was sad, really. You know, poor Olive Oil. Well, nowadays they would have probably put her in some sort of rehab facility for eating disorders. But in her day, it was just, lose weight, it's funny, lose weight, it's funny, you know, turn sideways, can't see her, that sort of thing. And the poor girl went for it. She finally went invisible completely. No one's heard of her.
I always suspected that Woody Woodpecker was a pill popper. Was there any suspicion that he had an addictive personality?
Yeah, he was a wood addict. Oak.
Oh, well, that's tragic.
Couldn't get enough of this stuff. Used to call him a little pecker. He was, too.
Slappy, what do you think about cartoon characters nowadays? Like, I don't know, what do you think about SpongeBob?
Now, you know I adore that SpongeBob. What a nice kid. He's written me so many fan letters. He once camped out on my lawn. You know, he's almost a stalker, really. He's a very, very nice guy. And very subdued in real life. Very calm. Very zen. You know, he's a Buddhist.
I did not know that.
One of the wisest individuals I've ever met. Very nice.
Slappy, you have a nephew named Skippy, and you two obviously spend a lot of time together, but it almost seems like he's living with you. You're practically taking care of him. Where are his parents?
They're on sabbatical.
Is that so? Wow.
They went on a cruise shortly after Skippy was born, and they haven't returned. They're seeing the world, seeing the sights, living the high life. We don't speak much, but they're very kind people.
Yeah, they sound real attentive there. They sound like real caring people, I must say.
They send me a check every month.
Now, Slappy, I got one last question for you. Are you aware of a woman named Sherry Stoner?
Yes.
What were your impressions of her?
She's very tiny.
And that's all I got. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. This was just so friggin' awesome.
One final thing, I just want you to be able to see that, you know, we won a bunch of Emmys. So, you know, and what do you do with these things? So what we did was we planted a couple and we got a crop. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so, you know, we bring in this crop every year.
That's a very impressive crop.
And then we, you know, at Halloween we hand them out because, you know, what do you do with them? We're going to ship out a load of these to you, Nostalgia Critic, as soon as we can.
Thank you, Tom Ruger Emmy. I'll put that right next to my Roger Ebert Twitter. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. This is just a dream come true. I love Animaniacs. I love the work you guys put into it. I think it's a wonderful show. I really think it holds up. Thank you all for doing this again. I have one last question, and that question is for Nate. Nate, I know it's been several years ago, but I simply gotta ask. Can you say water go down the hole?
Oh my god, man. You really want me to say that? You really want me to say that again?
Yes, say water go down the hole.
I'm 26 years old. It's been 17 years. I'm a grown man.
Fuck the fact that you're a grown man. Just say the line. Go on, say it. Say it. Say it!
Water go down the hole.
That was wonderful. Now say it while wearing a diaper.
No chance in hell.
Nate, where are you going? Don't you run away from me! I'm supporting your dad's weird vulture idea! Nate! You fluffy-tailed bastard, I'll get you for this! You will say that lie while wearing a diaper! First you, and then one day, yours! Oh, interview go down the hole.
Water go down the hole.